Yeah, no doubt.
Moore,
Here.
O'Kane,
Here.
Shaner, Scott,
Here.
Waters.
Here.
Can we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One second, because it was there. I've had so many of those this year. Interviews today for boards and commissions. Historic Preservation, Teresa Hebert. Please come forward and tell us why you want to re-up.
I've really enjoyed being on the board. It's been really satisfying personally to give back to the city, but it also, the board has really appreciated my skills as an architect and my knowledge of historic buildings. We're also in the middle of a couple projects. We're really digging into the Rose Hill district to see what we can do to help those people. And then we've been looking at the terracotta that the council is in possession of to see if we can document that a little more detailed. Either just a regular inventory, we're looking into some sort of 3D scanning of that. So good. If you have any other questions.
You guys are doing a good job.
We're going to.
Question.
Thank you
Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for applying.
Planning and Zoning and Board of Adjustment, David Broxhus? Can't pronounce your last name. Sorry, buddy.
It'd be Broxhus.
Okay.
People get it wrong all the time, don't worry.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, I was asked to join the board just through my nature of work as an architect. It's something I've experienced here in Sioux City on projects that we've worked through. I've worked with CMBA architects for 11 years here in Sioux City, and then I've been a licensed architect for 3 years. I'm familiar with other zoning boards through other jurisdictions and cities as well. But just trying to bring not necessarily expertise, but knowledge of what the zoning process that should be, or the steps that should be happening through the zoning process, things that should or should not be allowed per the zoning code, and then recommendations as made by city staff, whether things should or should not be approved, as well as any other modifications that need to be made, either to accommodate the code, accommodate missing portions of the code, or kind of just in general for health, safety, and welfare of the public.
Well, I appreciate the application, David. I mean, it feels like it's been a while since we've for sure served together. David and I were together with Sioux City Go back in the day, but really appreciate bumping into you here and there around the community, and I know you're doing good work at CMBA. So appreciate the application.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Sam Wagner.
Good afternoon, Council.
How are
Sam
you?
Wagner.
Good afternoon. Tell us a little bit about why you want to serve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the interview question, Mayor. Look, I've been living in this town now for 15 years. I consider it my adopted hometown. Moved here from Washington back in '09. And been working in economic development roles this entire time with the city, former city staff, with the Chamber and the initiative, and now with Mid-American Energy. So my background is in development. I've been involved in quite a few development projects, both large and small, in this town and several others. And so I think that's where, if there's a background or perspective that I would bring to the commission, it would just be, that knowledge of the development process and experience in working directly with developers, and also just having an understanding of, planning and zoning rules and regulations here in the city. I've taken a number of items to P&Z over the course of my career. It's been a while, admittedly, but have done that, and so I'm familiar with the process, familiar with the staff, and just looking to. I know everybody says this, but I do mean it. Looking for a way to give back. I agree with your comments. I think the variety of your experience over the years will really add a lot to planning and zoning. So I'm glad you applied. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
All
Sam.
right. Thanks.
No doubt.
Have a good one. We'll go to consent agenda items 3 through 14B, considering to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is requested by a council member. If you want to speak on one of these items, please come to the microphone as I read that item. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. Remember to always state your name and address for the record. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Reading of the July 11th and 15th City Council minutes. 4 is a resolution rejecting the bids received for the digestion and high-strength waste receiving improvements project. 5 is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area for the Tommy Bolin Music Festival. 6 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on a proposed $300 civil penalty against Fleet Farm Fuel for violation of the cigarette laws. 7 is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the terminal roof replacement at the airport. 8 are resolutions amending Resolution 2024-0574 and approving the corrective city deed for property adjacent to 102 South Rustin Street, the petitioners Brooke and Adolfo Galazzo Pena. I think I'm going to abstain on that item. I might have a conflict of interest. 9 is a resolution authorizing payment to Siouxland Utility Contractor for the Fire Station 8 Septic System Project. 10 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution accepting a transit joint participation agreement with IDOT for a state transit assistance grant. B is a resolution authorizing the Assistant City Manager to submit an airport terminal grant application to the FAA to fund the Airport Terminal Improvements Project. 11 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution approving a service provider agreement with Ward Electric Company for the Riverside Pump Station Gear and Replacement Project. B is a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the consulting services agreement with Black & Veatch for the UV disinfection project. C is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Siouxland Utility for vacuum truck services at the wastewater treatment plant and lift stations. D is a resolution authorizing a grade crossing construction and maintenance and easement agreement with BNSF Railway for the Downtown Quiet Zone Improvements Project. E is a resolution approving change order number 1 to the contract with Mid-Continental Restoration for the Tyson Event Center Tuck Pointing and Seal Project.
Jessica Johnson, City Manager's Office. I just wanted to let council know that we are anticipating, there will be a second change order involved with this. I was just notified around noon today when they removed the top layer of stone. They discovered around 58 square feet of brick that has also failed, which will be roughly around $7,000. So we'll be bringing that to the next council meeting. Just wanted to be transparent. So
We're
council.
not done yet either.
I asked, I said, I don't want to be bringing a change order weekly here, boys. And they told me that they're confident that this will take all of it.
Taken off.
Thanks, Jess.
F is a resolution approving an agreement for termination of a development agreement and assignment and assumption of the lease agreement and accepting a warranty deed from Lindblom Enterprises. Well, what is going to happen to the trucks and that are still parked there? How soon do they have to get those out of there? And it looks terrible. The sooner we can get in there and get that mowed, the better.
It's funny. I was going to mention that, Mayor.
Mick Morgan, Real Estate Specialist City. I have not had that conversation with their attorney at this time.
Well,
I was going to say, because it was going to be my recommendation, Mayor, that they should probably clean it up before we take.
We're looking to close this Friday, so I can definitely, we're looking to close this Friday, so I can definitely have the conversation with them and see what they can do.
Yeah, they got to get those trucks out of there, and they should have it mowed. We should have given them a notice to mow it, but we got to get that. Looks terrible.
I'm sorry, we have discussed the mowing with them as well. So,
okay,
Please hold them to it before the closing. We would appreciate it.
We'll do.
Thank you. 12 are actions relating to personnel. A is a resolution amending the position classification manual by adopting an updated job description for the utility superintendent. B is a resolution amending the statement of authorized personnel complement by adding 2 wastewater treatment plant operators. 13 are purchasing. A is a resolution approving renewal option number 2 for the purchase order with Hawkins for phosphate F-35. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Brentwood Industries for the primary clarifier equipment for the wastewater treatment plant short-term improvement project.
Mayor, I've got a question or two for Tom. Can you just give me a summary, Tom, please, of what this is going to accomplish, and then what's the duration or what's the life of what we're doing with the updates?
Tom Bingle, Utilities Director. So this purchase is for all new equipment in our primary clarifiers. This is a part of the emergency repair project that we have grouped together with our large Phase 1 project. This equipment, luckily we've ordered it already. Most of this is damaged due to the flood, and that was not foreseen. So luckily we have it coming already, but the main objective was to replace our already aging and failing equipment with new equipment, which is basically chains, sprockets, gears, and then long flights. Flights are long, I think they're about 15 feet long pieces of really hard plastic, flat pieces that push sludge off the bottom of the clarifier, and then it also, once it comes to the top of the clarifier, it pushes all the grease into certain areas so we can collect it. Right now, we're not able to collect much sludge and grease because of the aging equipment. The life expectancy of this equipment is about 5 to 8 years, but we are only going to use it for about 5 years during the duration of construction. After that, it will be removed and replaced with all new equipment for the Phase 1 project. So basically, this equipment is limping our plant along for the next 5 years until we get all new tanks with the newer style type of primary clarifiers. They're actually, the new style ones are circular. Ours are giant rectangles.
See, so we had this, you were thinking of doing this before the flood? Or did this
We were always
expedite
going
it?
to do it around this time, but luckily we bought it early, or that we are buying it now instead of a few months ahead of time, so that we can purchase it, because the lead time's about 12 to 20 weeks.
And I missed the meeting last week, and the council rejected some bids. What were those on? This is different.
That's for the structure of the equipment of this process. So the primary clarifier is a giant concrete tank.
Okay.
This plastic and metal gears and sprockets go inside the tank, the mechanism of the tank. But the structure of the tank needs to be repaired as well to limp the plant along for the next 5 years. And those are the bids that we asked to be rejected. Whereas the structural repair of the concrete.
Okay. So is that going to come back?
Yep, that is currently already back out to bid.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Mayor.
C is a resolution awarding a purchase order Arrowhead Forensics for a full spectrum imaging system color lab. 14 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list to have any questions come forward. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Passes 4-0. 15 is the hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of the Neighborhood Services Division for the lease of land in the combined central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area space at number 1B at 521 Nebraska Street. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 4-0. 16 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Broken Kettle Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Project. Somebody else will have to move that.
I'll move it.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 3-1. I vote no. 17 is a hearing resolution accepting the proposal of Chick-fil-A land in the combined central Sioux City CBD urban renewal area and authorizing a development agreement to property adjacent to 800 and 820 Hamilton Boulevard. I'll move that.
Second.
Public hearings now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed. Passes 4-0. 18 is an ordinance amending Chapter 20.05 Housing Maintenance Code to increase the rental permit fee. I'll move first reading.
Second.
Passes 4-0. I would like to just give landlords another week and to have a chance to talk if they want to. Resolution amending Chapter 2021-098080, which approved the city's request to IDOT and the Federal Highway Administration to revise the federal functional classification map, Singing Hills Boulevard through the residents at Elk Creek Road subdivision. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 4-0. Citizen concerns. Are any citizens want to be heard? Please come to the microphone. State your name and address for the record, please.
Afternoon, Summer, Sommer. Last name is Monlux, Monlux. I'm the postmaster here in Sioux City, Iowa. My address is 5113 Stone Avenue. I have been the postmaster here for the last 7 years, and I've been gone for the last 9 months. I got asked to come back because they're having some issues in our office. If you've been there, you know, as you laugh. I've seen you there, Mr. Scott.
I know who you are.
I have a major concern that got brought up while I was gone. We've had dog issues. We always have. We understand we're on the lawns of other people. It's their private property, and it's been a big concern. At the post office alone last year, we had 2,676 dog bites. So that's nationwide. Here in Iowa, we had, I want to give you some numbers. We had 134 dog bites last year. So it's a major concern.
Throughout the state, right?
Throughout the state, yes. Sioux City is one of the biggest offices in all of Iowa, but yes, throughout the state. My biggest concern is Ingleside. I have 9 dogs on Ingleside alone. So I didn't get back until June. When I came back, they had already cut off delivery in May. So my concern was that they didn't give them the proper documentation, because our way of doing it is we notify you, we had a dog. If the cops weren't called or if animal control wasn't called, we notify you with a letter that says you need to come down here, sign to say you're no longer going to have your dog out during our hours, which could be till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no doubt.
But so that protects my carriers. But Ingleside is a major concern. 9 dogs within a 3-block radius. So I guess my question to you guys is, what is your ordinance as the city? What is our policy for the city? Because we haven't had this many dogs in one area. So I'm very concerned, because I can just change the mode of delivery, but that's not what I want. I want our customers to be able to get their mail, and I want everyone to be safe. I don't want my carriers hurt. But I don't know what backing I have. We do have congressionals. There are people on that street that have already called Congress to complain. But we're used to that type of thing. But out of the 37 houses that we're not delivering to, only 5 have stopped and got their mail. 5 customers. I get it. It's Ingleside. We've also had a stabbing out there. We've had a couple of shootings out there. So not only just the dog concern, but the safety concern in general. So I guess I ultimately am looking to see what is your guys' policy for backing up, whether it's animal control or the police with the dogs. Because most of the time when we do call the police, it's their private property, which I get. I understand that. But what are my options to support not only the city and our customers, but also to keep my carriers safe? I guess I'm asking you guys, what can I do differently? I can change their mode of transportation, but that's ultimately, or the way that we deliver the mail. But if I put a CBU down on the end of the block, now how many times is that going to be vandalized? I'm going to have to redo it. How many times am I going to have to change the keys because it's a turnover part of our city? I can put curbside up and pay for it, and then they'd have to maintain it. But ultimately, then those boxes are out on the curb, still going to be vandalized, still, So I've looked at it both ways. I've tried to approach it. I did just send out letters again last week to make sure that everyone actually got a letter and got confirmation that their dog was an issue. There's at least 3 pit bulls, not that that matters. There's 3 German Shepherds. There's 3 black labs. So there's all sorts of different dogs. It's not one dog or another. But I guess I've never came here and talked to you guys because I've never had this big of an issue before. So I'm just wondering what you guys would suggest or what you would assist us with to maybe talk about the dog ordinance or what our policies are so that they can, so we can all take care of not only my employees, but get those customers served too.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
So I had very similar experience on the north side. I was canvassing this last weekend, and there were a lot of dogs. A lot of dogs that were running loose in the yards. If the mailbox is on the porch and the fence is closed and there's a loose dog in the yard, do you attempt to deliver?
No.
Don't attempt to deliver?
Nope. And they'll rattle the fence to make sure.
Yep.
If the mailbox is on the porch, a lot of dogs come out, so you put your foot up on the screen porch because as soon as they hear that mailbox close, they come charging. We've had many dogs break through glass windows, screen doors, glass doors. I mean, we've seen it all. Trust me, I've seen it. I was a carrier for 9 years, so I've seen it. But it's pretty scary when it happens, and to have that many dogs in one area is a big concern for me.
My dad did distribution for the Journal, so his policy was always to carry a box of dog biscuits just to be ready, but that doesn't always help.
And we're not supposed to, but some still do, but then that's the problem. So if there's a sub on that route that day and that dog's coming running and barking for that treat, and then the next carrier doesn't have a treat.
For him, then they'll take a bite of it.
Yes.
He becomes the treat.
Yes.
He or she. Yeah.
Are you able to
That's
request
pretty-
that they move their mailbox to the edge of the property? Like
We can.
Okay.
With the income in that area, it would be a big fight. So what we would do is just go do it ourselves.
And then you're
we
saying
put
there's vandalism.
4
or placement.
boxes, 4 boxes on a post down the street as far as we can, and then we would not deliver any packages at all. And we've done that before. We've done CBUs before. We've had dogs that actually have been euthanized because, they hurt our carriers pretty bad. I've had a couple carriers that have never come back because it's been that bad. But ultimately, I'd say we're doing better. We're down to 34 dog bites in our state, which is way different than what it used to be. So safety has definitely changed at the Postal Service. Customer service, not so much, but the safety part of it has changed. But yeah, I'm just asking, I guess, I don't know. Originally, it used to be that we couldn't have pit bulls, and they said we can now. So that's my own fault for not paying attention. But what is the policy if we call animal control and they don't come, or if we call the police and do we have anything? I mean, can we get any support?
Summer, Nicole DuBois, I know we've met before. Caleb Christofferson in my office is the attorney that handles all the citations that are written by animal control and the police department related to animal bites, vicious, high risk. So perhaps I would suggest that we sit down with Caleb as well as Chris Wall and Cindy Rarrett from Animal Control and perhaps the city manager to discuss what our options may be to try to come up with some solutions. Because we mainly see it on the side where we're handling where a bite has already occurred, but I would propose we have additional discussions to talk about that.
And I did call Animal Control last week and asked them if they could get us how many times we've called, because one of my carriers has a 3-page statement on all the way back to December. Well, I haven't been here since I left in September of last year. So I didn't know any of this, and then they finally just cut them off like the month before I got back. But I really don't feel like I, on my side, have done my due diligence in giving them the notification and the direction to make sure that they know that their dog has been an issue. They might be at work all day and their kid let the dog out and they have no idea the dog's back when they get home. So I want to make sure that they're all aware that they have been flagged as an issue. And I find it very concerning that only 5 people have come to get their mail out of 37 customers. So I'm assuming the 5 could be, I have 9 dog problems and some of them don't know that they're an issue. So that's what I need to do on my side. And then, let's get together.
Well, and I was going to ask if you had conversations with our animal control or staff and just had a more direct conversation with them about what could be done and what they were doing to address, or if they had been out there and what citations have been given. And maybe they can't provide that, but at least in this environment, maybe they would be able to.
It sounds like you need to get them and Summer and Caleb all together in a meeting. We don't want your dad get calling me, so we'll do what we can.
Yeah.
Hey, Summer.
He's kind of a pit bull.
Right?
While you're here, one thing that was actually brought up at the last council meeting, or I think it was at the last council meeting, Julie Shaner and I were talking about it, but was the possibility of putting in a handicap button at the main headquarters.
Post office?
Yeah, because I know I've struggled with those doors before, and she was making the comment that she saw some other people struggling with them as well. So I know that I've seen people not only struggle with the door, but then also, and I know this is a give and take, but the ability to sit, sometimes there can be a longer line, and I know there were some folks that didn't have the ability, and they don't all roll with their own chair, so they didn't have the ability to stand there for a long time. But
Okay, so chairs, since the wait is now, I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Hence why I'm back.
no doubt. Well, and I just thought I'd bring it up. I
Sometimes
never
they
knew
get
who to.
quite a while.
I never knew who the push button conversation would go through, and I was just surprised as a federal building that it wasn't more
doesn't.
accessible. And so, I appreciate.
Yeah, I
We'll
will.
look into this. If you could look into that, I
Definitely.
appreciate it.
Definitely.
Let's get
Thank you.
get
Thanks,
forward.
Summer.
Anyone else? Mr. O'Kane.
Just a few short things. So Friday, MIRD had a number of small grants that were awarded to different nonprofit organizations for flood relief, which is good. That's more money out the door to help victims of the flooding. So hopefully we'll see some impact from that. Tuesday, tomorrow at Goldie Park from 1 to 3, the food bank is setting up a pop-up for residents of Riverside. If you're a resident of Riverside, I would strongly encourage you to come through the line. The food bank will be there from 1 to 3. I think we're to that point where a lot of people are getting their power back on and starting on different construction within their houses, and we want to make sure that everybody is taken care of and gets the needs that they have at this stage in the recovery. Wednesday is the Siouxland Coalition Against Human Trafficking's 10-year anniversary. I just wanted to call them out because they've been a great partner with our Sioux City Police Department, and 10 years is quite the milestone. And that's everything for this week.
Alex.
Yeah, Mayor, I wanted to bring up 2 things. Number one was I just wanted to take a moment to recognize the work of the Mid-American Museum of Aviation and Transportation. On Friday, they held an event, specifically the board as well as the new executive director held a board recognizing the anniversary of the crash of Flight 232. It was a pretty powerful presentation. I have never been a part of that as far as learning as much as maybe I should know about Flight 232. And so hearing from a federal official that investigated absolutely every aspect of this case, and what evidence was collected, what evidence in the black box and different things, recordings were able to be collected to have him walk through the timeline, was very, very, interesting, sad. I mean, just a number of different things, but it was really good to learn about, and I was really proud of our community for showing up. They had to add chairs multiple times to accommodate the people that were coming to listen to this presentation. It was also moving because one of the original flight attendants, she actually came back and was a part of it, as was a gentleman that was on the flight was a 9-year-old unaccompanied minor. And so having them back in our community to be able to share their stories and just see the exhibit and to mark that occasion, it was really moving. And so I just wanted to commend that staff and that group for being able to secure them and recognizing that part of our history. The second thing that I wanted to bring attention to was we recently got from FEMA a little bit more information as far as rental assistance. I know the people of Riverside have been seeking financial relief, especially not only for the remodeling and rebuilding of their home, but also I know some of them have really struggled with rental assistance and being able to be out of their home and finding temporary housing, but then also paying for that while they're also paying a mortgage on a home they can't be in. And we just put this out. I believe it should be on our social media and things. I know we all got an email about this. But there is a FEMA rental assistance program in our county. And specifically, if you apply, it will go towards 2 months of renting a structure while you're seeking relief and rebuilding. And you can also apply for an extension of up to 18 months from the disaster declaration. And so there's information about where to apply, what else you can do, and other programs that are available. So I would urge any citizens, both in our community as well as the region, if you're experiencing damage or financial hardship or having to live out of your home, a number of different things. The governor as well as FEMA have opened up a couple different funding mechanisms, so I would urge you to please do everything you can to apply for the assistance that you can get, because it's very difficult to, I know, sit behind this bench and want to provide as much assistance to the people of Riverside as we possibly can, but we don't necessarily have the funding surplus that the state of Iowa has, nor do we have some of the relief dollars that FEMA is able to provide. So please, I would encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities. That's all I have, Mayor.
Dan?
Nothing further.
Gordon, I have one thing. 2 weeks ago, I called you on Military Road, and you said that it was one of the phone companies, Quest, or I don't know which one, that they would be out there within a week. The weeds in that ditch are already about 2 feet above the bottom of the ditch. Here's the deal. Call the phone company. I don't have the power to do this, but I'm going to tell you what I'd do. Tell them if they don't have it done by Friday, we're pouring it back, and they can dig their pipes back out. And neighborhoods should not have to wait for these kind of deals. It's ridiculous. It's been all summer now, and they have made no effort whatsoever in the last 2 months. It's unacceptable.
Gordon Fair, city engineer. Yes, I'll get on that. I'll call them tomorrow.
Yeah, tell them we're going to just concrete it over and they can go dig it up later. It'll be their problem, because neighborhoods should not have to deal with that.
Yep. Yep.
Unbelievable that a phone company would leave. It's a mess. It's just a mess. I move we adjourn.
Second.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Anyway, once you...
My